Hey everyone. So today I want to tell you the story of a Chad that I once knew. For the purpose of the story, I'll call him Chad, which is not his real name. Met him I was probably in my mid 20s when I met the guy. He was somewhere in his 30s. I don't remember exactly if it was mid 30s, late 30s, early 30s. But he was somewhere in his 30s when I knew him. And he was still a very handsome man. Good body, good he was in good shape. Um, Good looking face. Kind of guy that most men could look at and say, yeah, that's a good looking guy. He'd always been popular with the ladies. He had a lot of girlfriends growing up. He um, he had a wife and kids when I knew him, and a daughter from a previous relationship. I think she was about 13 or 14, 15 years old, something like that. So women wanted this guy's DNA pretty bad, and at work everybody liked him. He was a good worker. He was very competent. He had started at the company in a very low position, worked his way up. He was very competent in a lot of the different systems that this company was doing. Uh, he had been doing, in fact, they liked him so much that he had been doing some work out in the field, some technical work, and I don't know exactly what happened, but he got injured somehow, or hurt his back real bad. I don't know if it was from a fall or exactly what it was. But something happened where he got hurt real bad. He was out of work for about 6 months, but they liked him so much and wanted to keep him on so badly that even though his position had been filled, they made sure to find another position inside the company for him to do work. And since he had been doing field work for most of his career, they put him in the office because of the back injury. But it didn't matter because he knew the systems so well that he could, you know, he was able to adapt to office work pretty quick. And then, God, I still remember this. I still remember the boss showing up one day. Another company had been looking at him to hire him, and the boss showed up with paperwork offering him an immediate raise. I don't know by how much, but I think it was a decent amount, so that he wouldn't leave the company, so that he would stay on. That's how much they liked this guy. And he was a very friendly man. I'd say, I don't want to say nice guy. That's a trap that because people always think of the bad stereotype. I mean, an actual kind person. He was pleasant to be around. Um, but the more I think about him, besides being a hard worker and competent hard worker and being handsome, personality wise, pretty average, pretty normal. He wasn't super charming or anything like that. I mean, you had a tendency to like him, but I think that people's tendency to like him was because of his looks. To be honest with you, I mean, he was never rude or anything like that. But what do they say that being nice is the bare minimum? Well, yeah, he certainly met the bare minimum. I think about it, and and the more I got to know him, the more I was surprised about his life outside of work. He didn't have any friends. His wife hated him. I mean, and I met his wife once. She really hated him, and she was not his looks match. And I don't mean she was better looking than him. And there was a lot of drama with the 13-year-old daughter from the previous relationship. Lots of chaos. And all of that really surprised me because so many people at that workplace really loved this guy. I really would have thought that his life outside of work would have been as good as it was inside of work. And the funny thing about him, he grew up I got the impression it was a troubled household because in his late teens, early 20s, he had talked about how there was a lot of, I'm trying to think of how to say this, a lot of illegal activities he was involved in. Apparently, he never got caught and never got a record, but he was kind of a wild man in his late teens, early 20s. And I wonder, maybe that contributes some of it to it. Why is it this guy that everybody liked him at work? I mean, he was a good guy. He would always be willing to help people. He was, and I don't mean he was a doormat, okay? Because he would stand up for himself. Maybe with women he wouldn't. I don't know. But how did he end up with a wife that hated him? Now, well, part of it I know how is that they got married after she got pregnant. But with all the previous girlfriends he had and all the options he had, why did he end up with her? Like, what was going on in his personal life? What about him that led him to that place? I don't know. I don't know exactly. I would have thought he would have had better options. And there was that previous relationship that popped out a child too. I don't know what she was like. But the fact that he had a wife that hated him and he had no friends outside of work really surprised me. Because even though he was a bit of a wild man in his early 20s, by the time I knew him, I would have thought he could have settled down with a better group of people. Um, I don't know. I don't have answers for this. I'm bringing it up because I've been thinking about doing a series of videos, maybe called Questions Unanswered. Things that I know about, I sort of understand it, but I don't completely wrap my brain around it. And the thing is, it's been so long since I've known this guy, and there's no way I can get in contact with him again. I don't really quite know how his life got to be where it was. I don't know why Chad would end up in such a horrible place after both a wild start in general and a real good start with women, because a lot of them liked him. He had an endless string of girlfriends before he finally got married. I don't really have a moral to this story. I don't really have any lessons learned besides that, people's superficial appearance of lives doesn't necessarily match what's going on at home. But I wonder about guys like him. How did he get to be where he was at? Why was so much of his personal life such a disaster, whereas at work, so many people love this guy? I don't know. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.